And aloha! Hey, I want to talk to you a little bit about where we're headed next as far as your art book's concerned. Art 7 art book. You're going to be working on what's called My Imaginary World Art Book Collage. We're going to take a step from last year. Remember last year it was all about you and your real world? Now we're going to step into the imaginary world. We're going to study a little bit of something that's called surrealism. Surrealism is where you take something that is real, you add the "sur" to it, and you make it a make-believe real world. And so what I want to have you think about is if you could live in an imaginary world, any place, and pretty much do anything, what would that be? What kind of world would that be? Because you're going to create this imaginary world out of images that already exist. And then you're going to actually recreate it, combining a picture of yourself as well as other pictures that exist that you seek out on the internet and you make happen. All right. Here's our GQ for the project. How can an IB artist use this cycle of design, collage, various combined pictures, storytelling, and your imagination to create an imaginary world art book cover and back it up with a written narrative? So that is the GQ on this. The investigation phase. The investigation phase is going to include, to begin with, you doing some research. We want you to research surrealism and collage. So you're going to need to get online and research some surrealistic artists. Now I got to warn you, there's some weirdos out there. There's some folks doing some pretty strange things. It's okay. You've got a filter. You know what's right and what's not. And so I want you to go out and do some research. I want you to look a little bit at what's out there and see what surrealistic artists are doing. You're going to need to find 3 surrealistic collage artists and some examples of their work. And you're going to need to print out a little bit of a bio on those artists. Okay, and you need to print out some examples of their work so we know that you have done some research and you understand a little bit about them. And don't just print the first 3 that you find. We want you to try to find surrealistic artists that are creating make-believe worlds like this one. You know, you can imagine this particular collage with your head here on the top of that little gnome dude and creating this make-believe world. So that's the investigation phase. You're to investigate surrealism, investigate collage, how that artist takes images, puts them together. Then we're going to move into the planning phase. Planning phase, we want you to brainstorm and sketch a make-believe world of your own. I want you to do some sketching first of all. I want you to think through, gosh, if I could live anywhere, or I could do anything in a make-believe world, and it doesn't mean that it can't be based in reality. For example, my make-believe world would be able to live in a treehouse. I would love to be able to live in a treehouse right on the coast someplace, in a beautiful place on the coast where the waves are perfect, where my family could be with me, where it's sunny and we could fish and I could have a sailboat, and everything is just always wonderful. That would be like my dream, my imaginary world. And so what I would obviously do is I would sketch that out. What would that look like? Where would that treehouse be? What would the ocean look like? I want to have an idea what I'm looking for in my head as I start my planning phase. Then I'm going to need to get online. Here's my idea. I've got my idea figured out. I'm going to have to get online. I need to collect some images of my world and my environment from magazines and from the internet. Now, I've been trying to work this out, and what I found out is that in reality, you really need to sit down at a computer and you need to research the hundreds and hundreds and thousands of pictures that are available online that would be the subject matter. So you really need to plan out what your project would look like. If I want a certain kind of an ocean scene, if I want a tree house in mind, I have to search the internet for tree houses. So much easier to do than using a magazine to do that. Unless I happen to have a magazine on tree houses, which is like, So you're going to need to sit down and actually do some research and print out those pictures, print them out to size. Think about the composition that you're creating. You want to print them out to size. 8.5 by 11 is the size that you're working on. So you need to print those pictures out so that they fit together compositionally. All you'll have to do then is cut them. So you're to work on that. Use the internet to find those pictures, and then magazines if you need to supplement some of that imagery with magazines that you might have laying around or you might need to find. All right? So that's a collection. Part of it, and you're going to need to bring a photograph of yourself that is 3 by 5, because you're going to create a figure in this of some proportion, some sort of a living being that has to do with your collage that'll include your head but somebody else's body. Okay? So you're going to place your head on something else's body or somewhere else in a sense of including yourself into the collage. Okay? Makes sense? And you're also going to have to be thinking of the story that's behind your world, because you're going to have to tell the story, the backstory, if you will, actually on the back of the collage. So you're going to have to write the backstory of where it is that your world is, what's your world about, and it could be anything. You can live in space, you can live on the moon, you can live underwater, you can live in a jar of Jell-O, you know, whatever. You can live anywhere you want as long as you can visually represent that, and then you can use words to represent that as well. And then you're going to need to plan them out. You're going to cut the pictures, combine them together, lay it out before you start to glue everything down. You want to plan this out until you're happy with how it looks. You're going to need to remember there has to be a background. Where in the world is this? There has to be a middle ground. What else is going on in that world? And a foreground, which involves you doing that activity. Got it? All right. Then we move on. We're going to move on to the creation phase. You're going to construct your collage, gluing your parts into place on the front of your book. So we're just talking about the front of the book right now. You've got all these pictures together. You've got your story figured out. Now you're going to glue them in place. Okay? And again, remember that there needs to be a background, middle ground, and a foreground. So you're going to construct it at this point. Last is the construction phase for the back. You got the front constructed, looks fantastic. You got this incredible make-believe world with flying graham crackers and marshmallow squirrels and all kinds of things are living in your world. Then you're going to need to work on the back. You're going to write your story on the back. You're going to tell the story of your make-believe world by using cutout words from magazines. So you're literally going to do it ransom note style, if you know what I mean, and you're going to search for words that are going to help to tell that story. You're going to cut them out, piece them together to create your sentences. And you're going to remember that there has to be a background. So you can't just put it right on the cover. There's got to be a background to it also. So you're going to have some sort of a background on the back cover that is similar to the theme on the front cover. And then you're going to cut and paste your words into place so they tell your backstory. Get it? Backstory. It's the back of your art book. It's your backstory. Man, am I clever. Anyway, so that's what we're doing in our classes. In Art 7, Mrs. Gray's class and mine, that's what we're doing in Art 7. All right? If you got questions, ask either one of us. Look at that. Ask either one of us. Isn't that exciting? That in itself is an art. All right, with that said, I'm out of here. Bye-bye. 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 We'll see you around. Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.